So you are on.
Okay.
And this will be my green light, because the green light is not working. We're all supposed to.
But you're not self-timing yourself, so
No.
don't worry about it.
No, I'll have the time.
We'll see that you're covered. You're here to present, be the best you that you can be, yes?
Thank you.
You're gonna bring all you've got because you never know who's gonna see this.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yes?
That's kind of frightening.
As a matter of fact,
What's your time? What is your time, Pushpa?
It's
Sorry.
25 to 30.
okay. Well, welcome to Keynoters Advanced Toastmasters. We are in Australia, which is far away from my hometown, Denver, Colorado. I have the great opportunity to be honored to hear from two presenters I've never heard from before. First is Pushpa. I'm very excited because she's already in the back of the room exercising, running to the front of the room. She's already got herself up. That's a verbal clue. You've already got yourself up and you're ready to go. Okay? That way when you come to the front of the room, you have all your energy and you get to present all about with your best gusto. Pushpa is presenting today from Pathways. Path number 2 for her. She's working on the motivational strategies. We're recording this, so it's good for you to review. Level 1, Project 4, Research a Project. Always can take you in a fun direction. And today I'm very excited because this is a subject I'm always encouraged, I'd like to hear about. It's not only the spice of life, but the title is The Spice World of Life. So let's welcome Pushpa.
Namaste. Namaste is our traditional Indian greeting. Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my talk as I take you through this exotic world of spices. From the poor people seated in this room, could you raise your hand if you're a fan of Indian cuisine?
No, very fast.
Right. At least we have got one fan and one who's kind of okay there. The reason why I have chosen Indian cuisine as my topic for today to motivate you is not to motivate you just to walk into the next Indian restaurant and just grab a spicy meal, but to understand through this project how the cooking of India, the various dishes that we find in this diverse country, is not only spicy, as very often that is the word associated with Indian cooking. Ah, spicy. Well, in what way are those spices beneficial to us? Is another part of what I'm going to take you through today. Because Indian cuisine, how do I get a bean? Sorry. No, not to turn to the next one. The bean, I want to show something.
So that's the one you want?
Where is it?
Is that the slide you want?
Yeah, I just want to focus on
The
something.
pointer.
At the pointer, yeah.
There.
There it is, that one. Yeah, thank you. The top one. Right. Now this is India. A very large country actually. And right from the north of India to the south of India and from the west of India to the east of India, the cuisine is so different. Now I come from Mumbai, which is right here, the most cosmopolitan city, and you get all the spices you want there in every form. But if somebody living in the north of India went down to the south of India, you'd actually find yourself quite alien to the food that exists there. Because every cuisine is so varied. The south of India, as you can see, surrounded by water, this part of it, is lush with coconut trees. As a result of which, a lot of the South Indian cooking uses coconut oil. Whereas you talk to a North Indian, and they cannot stand coconut oil. Because they've never ever used it in their cuisine. I know, because my family originally is from the south of India, although we have settled in Mumbai. But my late husband, he was from the north of India. And so all my cooking at home had to completely be changed. I could not use coconut oil as much as I would have liked to, because it's something that just did not go with him. So, this is Indian cuisine, so different. This part of India, the East, very much pescatarians, fish lovers. Every food that they eat is related to aquatic life. Whereas this part of India is a desert. It's very much dry ground. And so that kind of food there is very different from what the rest of India would eat. So ladies and gentlemen, today, welcome to this world of cuisine to do with India, and see in what way food differs, and in what way Indian cooking is not just about spices, but it's about your health too. So, when you talk about Indian, of course, the first thing that comes to mind, spices. Yes, Indian cooking is all about spices. You can use the spice in moderation, you can use the spice as indulgently as you want. Personally myself, I have grown up with Indian cooking, but till today, my stomach cannot digest too much of chili. I cannot take it. And when I generally cook for my Australian friends, as I used to in Alice Springs, and used to have, they always loved Indian food, and I would call them over, and I try to kind of moderate my cooking to suit their palate, and they would say, no, don't do it. Just give it to us the way you would eat it for dinner. And it was surprising. My friends would say, okay, give me the food, but also keep a little bit of yogurt on the side. So they would take a bit of the food in their mouth, eat a little bit of yogurt, but in no way was I allowed to moderate my cooking. So this is Indian cooking, the world of spices. Beautiful, colorful. Some days when I'm not even cooking at home, I still open my cupboard just to look at all the colored spices there. It makes me so happy. Surprising, isn't it, what a little bit of color can do to you. Let's look at some of these essential spices. The coriander. Coriander in Hindi is known as dhania, and to the Western world, we also know it as cilantro. So, it's a beautiful spice because the herb, I love this herb, it's used as a garnish for every Indian dish, whether it's vegetarian or non-vegetarian. We always sprinkle some coriander at the end of it. But the seeds are powdered, and that's called as the coriander powder or the dhania powder. And we use that in absolutely every bit of dish, whether it's, like I said, the vegetables or whether it's the meat. It's something that enhances the flavor of the dish. Some people cannot stand the coriander at all, especially this part. I had a friend in Alice Springs for whom I had to cook dishes separately in the way that after finishing the cooking, before I garnished it, I take some out and keep it before I put in the coriander because she would be nauseous. And she even told me once that she hates to stand in the checkout lines at Woolies and Coles. If somebody in the front is carrying coriander in their bag, she cannot tolerate it. So there you go. Maybe that's an extreme. But to me, the aroma of this herb, it's heavenly. That's the only way I can describe it. But look at the benefits of coriander. It's not that you will go and pluck it and just start eating it because it does all this, but no. Incidentally, coriander is also very good for diabetics. It also promotes healthy bones. You can see that. It prevents nausea. I didn't know all this till I began the research for this project. And I said, oh my God, does coriander do all this? It doesn't mean that every Indian is going to be cured of diabetes. No. But it definitely helps. It prevents even conjunctivitis. Having said that, as a child, I have got conjunctivitis. But today when I'm looking at it, I'm saying, I do use coriander. I should never have got conjunctivitis. That's not the way it works. But it's in its own little way. The little bit of coriander you use in your food contributes towards all this, even reducing your cholesterol levels, giving relief from anemia, helping with the menstrual cycle for girls. So we have all this as the benefits of having coriander. I must repeat once again, it doesn't mean that it replaces any medicine or anything that you're taking, but incidentally, as part of your cooking, when you do use coriander, you are contributing to the wellness of your own body. And that is what is important. So that's coriander. Let's move on to the next spice. That is another very essential ingredient of Indian cooking. The cumin, also known as zira. We call it zira. And it's made from the seeds of the Cuminum cyminum plant. It's got a very earthy flavor, nutty. Kind of peppery, but very, very nutty. The seeds look like this, as you can see. Very often, if you've ever gone to an Indian restaurant and as you're exiting, at the table where you go to pay your bills and stuff like that, you'll find a little bowl kept there with some colored seeds in it. That is this zira, but sugar-coated. It is such a good digestive. Such a good digestive. If ever you feel a bit, not so good after a meal, just pop in a bit of your zira and you find that you do get the relief. It may be an old wives' tale, but sometimes these old wives' tales hold very good in the modern world. And we generally grind it. I like to grind my own powder at home, so I roast the zira seeds, I powder it and keep it in a little box, but you can buy it from any Indian grocery shop too. The powder is what we use both of this in our cooking, but look at the benefits of this. As I said, the most important one right on the top there for digestive disorders. It's really good. It's not a replacement, again, you mustn't get me wrong, all right? But it definitely helps, it contributes towards easing a feeling that you have in your stomach, especially if you have a heavy Indian meal. It's supposed to be, and this I've heard from some medical person too, that it's very, very good as in the secretion of enzymes from the pancreas. And I know that I had a doctor friend who was asking one of his patients who had pancreatic cancer whether, because he was an Indian patient, and he kind of asked him, do you eat a lot of cumin in your diet? And he said, well, as much as I'm meant to. He said, well, in a way, then that has, it should help you with the secretion of enzymes from the pancreas. So for the pancreas and the liver, because it helps to detoxify the body. Now, whether it really helps to promote weight loss, I'm not sure, but I was surprised to read it. That, yeah, right, it promotes weight loss by reducing fat cells. I didn't know that at all until I went into the research of this. And it's also very rich in antioxidants. This I knew. And they call it phytosterols. I've never heard of this, so I had to actually look it up what it was. It's supposed to be the plant equivalent of cholesterol in animals. Actually, that helps to reduce our blood cholesterol. It's something that was new to me too. So in a way, this particular project has enlightened me in more ways than one. And considering that I'm such an Indian cooking fan and I eat it all the time, but didn't know that I was helping myself in other ways too. This is the brightness of this beautiful ingredient called as turmeric, and in India we call it haldi. It contains a very important compound called as curcumin. This is what it looks like. It's the root of a plant. And when it's powdered, most of us don't use it in this form at all, but when it's powdered, this is what it looks like. This particular turmeric has been a part of my life since I was a very young child. I remember my mother, and I used to hate this at the time. She would take the cream of milk, and I'm talking about cream bought in bottles as we do here in the Western world. In India, you buy the milk, you boil the milk, you allow the milk to kind of, go down, evaporate, and then the thick cream that collects on the top. She used to take a little bit of that cream, mix haldi with it, and apply it to my face, and I used to hate it. And she'd always say, there will come a time when you'll do it yourself, she said. Because it contributes towards the glow in your face. And believe me, this is such an important part of Indian life that today, in an Indian wedding, one day before the wedding, they have what is called as the haldi ceremony, where the bride, this haldi powder is taken, mixed with cream, applied over the hands, the feet, the face, the neck. It's supposed to give that little extra glow, revitalizes your skin. And that is a fact. I'm not saying that I'm the standing example of that. It's not that. But it definitely does help. So take it from me. At that time, I thought my mother was just being weird and subjecting me to this torture on every Sunday when I didn't have school. I was applying the cream and haldi. And do you know what? There's an industry in India. They call it the Biko industry. They started as a very, very small industry. But you know what they did? And this was something that was so mind-blowing at the time. They marketed a cream called as the Biko turmeric cream. And they advertised it on television. It was one of the most shoddy advertisements that they showed a bride getting ready, applying this cream, next day glowing. That company just took off. And the benefits of this haldi or turmeric became known to the entire population. But apart from the beautification part of it, let's look at what it does. This is what I put right at the end, lends a natural glow to the skin. It does. But apart from that, it's a great antiseptic. I know this too, because Mom used to do this also. When I hurt myself, fell somewhere, scraped my knee, she'd take a bit of haldi, apply it over the wound before we could actually get some band-aid or some other ointment. This was the first step. And today again, at that time it was like, again yellow on my skin. But I realize today the benefits of all that Mom used to do. Again, it's not it's anti, sorry. I'm just sorry now. It's an anti-inflammatory compound. Very good as a natural liver detoxifier. They make us drink milk with haldi in it. Warm milk with turmeric in it. Again, something I used to detest. But it was part of what Mom used to say, you've got to do it. I remember my sister having jaundice, and for some time, of course, we couldn't give her a lot, but once she came out of the jaundice, Mom made her drink this. She said, you have to drink it every night, because it's really good for the liver, and, reduces the risk of childhood leukemia, and is an antioxidant too.